Welcome
Welcome
everybody
everybody
to.
to.
There's an echo. Tony. I'm gonna mute you for a second. Actually, I just muted myself. There you go. I'm going to repeat the things I just said a moment ago. Tony and I are polar opposites of each other. He's in the upside down world, and I'm in the regular world. Maybe to him, I'm in the upside down world, and he's in the regular world. But if you watch Stranger Things, you'll know what we're talking about. Arsenal, Tony, it feels like Arsenal are in the upside down world right now. And we can't hear you, Tony, either. So we are experiencing technical difficulties. Yeah, Mr. Tom, it's always fun around here. No audio today, Ray. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here with BX Gunner. Jose, we're going to write this thing out, and hopefully Arsenal corrects itself. Now we have an echo, Tony. All right, so going to have to mute you, Tony, till you figure that one out. Okay. Stephen, thanks for being here as well. Listen, I would not.
Now, can you hear me, Ray?
Yes, Tony, that's much better. Tony's coming to us from the upside down world. Are you in Australia, Tony? Down under, as Nigel says.
I'm looking down at Brownie's forehead.
Nigel is a Liverpool fan. Welcome, Nigel. Thanks for joining us. Your team is doing really well so far. Now you got about another 40 games. About another 40 games to go in this season. The first 10, 12, 15 have been really, really good if you're a Liverpool fan. Arsenal fans and Arsenal players, Mikel Arteta and the coaches, they know they have very little wiggle room left. We're holding 2 L's this week, Tony. A loss up at Newcastle and a loss in Milan in the Champions League.
Ray, do you have your percentage ready of how many points Liverpool need this season? Your target for
them? I only have Arsenal's target. I don't have Liverpool's target. But they're targeting the same amount of points that we'll be targeting. And listen, we'll see what happens. We'll go till the end of this year, and about the 18, 19 game point, we'll take a long, hard look at where we are. And we hope not to be, 7 points off of Liverpool at that point in time. You know what I mean? Stephen, you're right. We've lost 3 out of the last 4, I believe. Our one win coming from the Carabao Cup. So we're holding 2 L's. Yeah, Tony?
3 out of 5 if you want to do the 1 win and the 1 draw that we've had the last 5.
Yeah. Red John's in the house. From Tony's camera, I can see that Trump already turned the country upside down just a day or 2 after winning the election. Yeah. He certainly he turned Oklahoma upside down as well. But yeah, listen, we've lost 3 of the last 4. Bournemouth and Newcastle losses in the Premier League, where we don't have much more room for wiggle in the Premier League at all. And we'll talk about Chelsea coming up on Sunday. A huge weekend actually of Premier League fixtures, and we'll probably go through the Premier League fixtures as well. Tony, are you able to read upside down?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Um, well, listen, Tony, Arsenal are on the ropes here. I think in the Champions League, you're going to lose a game or
I,
two here. In
I,
group stages last season, uh,
I feel like in wrestling when you go over a top rope, right, and both your arms get stuck in between the ropes and you're just hanging there. That's kind of what I feel about Arsenal right now.
and Tony might get a rush of blood to the head as well. Right, Tony?
Yep.
But yeah, listen. Um, sometimes you know in a Champions League campaign, this is a new format, and the group stages before you had these 3 or 4 teams you were playing, and you lost. If you lost one, if you lost the game to one of those teams, you had the opportunity to get them back at your stadium or to go to their place and to win a game, to get some revenge. You don't have that opportunity. It's a kind of a everybody's getting used to the format, and the format is not the problem here. I want to stress, but everybody's getting used to the format of the new Champions League, Super League. Tony,
Yep. Yeah. It's what the Super League pretty much proposed the day before the vote for this new format. That's how slow things work in the soccer world. That seems like a long
football,
time ago, but
football. It's football.
football.
You lose credibility when you say soccer. It's
Hey,
football.
even though the fucking British invented the term association football turned into soccer because you got those letters in there somehow.
Yeah, listen. I hope everybody does stay with us for a little bit tonight. Um, coming off of the back of a loss in Newcastle and a loss to Inter Milan, it's um, it's not a good feeling, and I feel like this might be a shorter show than usual. You know what I mean? We talked about snooker for a while last week, Tony. So
And don't remember one thing I said during the weekend. I might have said it on Thursday too, but this is eerily similar where we were 5 years ago. They were going into the international break. Now we're going into a fucking another international break. Way to go, football. Way to just run your players into the ground, just like your
yeah,
organization.
I was thinking about that actually from our point of view, Arsenal players. They come off of a year ago. They lose 2 games just between Christmas and New Year's. You lose at West Ham, you lose at Fulham. But what do you have to do? You go. There is a winter break. You go take a couple of weeks in Dubai, 10 days, whatever it was. You come back with recharged batteries, and they went hell for leather mid-January all the way to mid-May. 5 months of football where they lost 1 game um, in the league and drew 1 game in the league and missed out on the Premier League by 2 points. People forget that you up against the best manager in the world and Pep Guardiola. And let's look across at City right now. City are on the back of 3 defeats as well. They've lost 3 in a row, one in the Carabao Cup, one in the Premier League, and one now in the Champions League against Sporting Lisbon. And we're going to have to face Sporting Lisbon. But you go into the summer, you get a week or two of the players get a week or two of rest, but it's really not a consistently long holiday or a summer break. The likes of Odegaard, the likes of Havertz, going into European Championships all the way through the summer, getting to the latter stages. Um, I know Odegaard didn't play in the European Championships, but go all the way to the latter stages of the competition, and you now have a situation where your preseason is interrupted, and Arsenal. We have to. I'm wondering, Tony, this whole news about Edu as well. Did Edu's situation cause a problem or an issue with us doing our summer business?
I don't think so. I'm just the timing's really weird to me. It's like, yeah, It's like you almost purposely time it when you're doing very poor, and you just throw that out there that the dude's leaving the club and
Oh,
assume
so you
they've
think it's
known
a
it for a while.
PR? You think it's a PR exercise? You lose a game or two, you're in a sticky patch.
Yep.
Now the news leaks out about Edu Gaspar leaving for Nottingham Forest, and what is probably he's got a little bit more autonomy and he's going to have a little bit more prominence in the club that he's going to, but he's also going to have a lot more cash and cash talks these days. Tiger and Gunner, all the way from down under. It
Hey,
might look very familiar. Tony's trying to be one of your compatriots right now. Yeah, Tony down under. Yeah, in the upside down world, on in the southern hemisphere.
since I'm down a land, do I ride inside of a kangaroo or a wallaby?
Tony inside of a kangaroo. I think Tony, you just want to head for the summer down in Australia right now, down under. It's nice
Yeah,
and warm down there.
my
We're heading into winter. Hawkwind, thanks for joining us, Hawkwind. Listen, we're holding it down here. It's myself and Tony from the Upside Down world. Stan has
and,
taken a sabbatical. He shall be back within a few weeks, but you know.
and Ray, my friends, like my dad's best childhood friend, he lives in Australia. My dad also ran his legs over with the cart because the guy from Australia, was drunk on the hood and he fell off while my dad was driving at the farm. So my dad ran with him on his shoulder for 2 fucking miles to a hospital.
Wow. 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 That's crazy. Crocodile Tony. We called you Tony Drago last week when we were talking about
Yeah.
snooker. Yeah. Now we're going to call you Crocodile Tony. Uh, Paul, Tony Hogan. Tony's co-founder is second only to the kids who grew up watching Barney and Friends. Stephen in Canada. Winter's already here where he lives. Yeah. Tony is upside down indeed.
So
Um,
sometimes this time of year, right? I do wish I lived in Canada so you could get the snow.
Perth on the west coast of Australia, all the way on the other side, opposite. That's opposite Sydney, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Sydney's in the
Alonzo, you have to announce it to the world on all of your social media. Um, you're available for a podcast. Yeah, we need you. Stan is taking a sabbatical, and Gary has other duties tonight, so he's just
duties.
not he's just not available for a podcast tonight. Steven said we don't need rest. We need a new style of play. So as far as I'm concerned, no player should be going anywhere during the break. International clubs don't pay their wages. Tony, what has happened?
Well, one thing that's happened, Arteta's last out at the Champions League. That was never to be a fucking red card. Their goalkeeper jumping out and hitting their
Oh,
player
it's
in the head.
never going to be a red card, but could it have been a penalty, Tony?
The goalie's always been allowed contact to the player. Other way
Yeah, you're
around, it
allowing
doesn't.
contact, but you're going like this to punch a ball.
He barely grazed his head.
He barely grazed the ball. He barely grazed the ball whilst going through his head.
Well, maybe that's what screwed up his trajectory.
And I'm very surprised there's no concussion with Marino. Maybe there was concussion with Marino. Arteta switching it up at halftime, and
Uh,
we looked brighter in the second half. Second half.
I think it's weird, like they announced so fast that Havertz is available. It probably doesn't know if he told you he was in Tokyo or Arteta's employee him.
You
They,
got the
they
link,
just
Alonso. You got the link. All
what
all you have to do
what
is click it, or else you get a
what
ticket. Yeah, Tony, go ahead.
seriously, right?
What?
I said, well, why don't football? Why don't they take concussions seriously? It's
They
like
don't think. Yeah,
Havertz was basically knocked out, but he's clear to go
that was
this
nasty.
weekend.
That was nasty. A lot of blood coming down, and we asked ourselves at the start of the season what it would look like if Odegaard was injured. He's our most important player, and we didn't have really adequate replacement for him in the team. Well, we brought in a youngster, an academy player who should have probably been getting more of his minutes in the interim whilst he was injured. Ethan one area has definitely impressed. He could have been allowed to impress more in the Premier League. Mikel
Yeah,
Arteta holding him back.
and it ends up being criminal because we end up losing some of those games. I think it would have been good for him to be out there. We just Odegaard's out. When I was there to give him a chance to play with the starters, he
Yeah.
just
Matic, cheese. What the hell is going on with Arsenal? We've gone backwards in the space of a month. Yeah, listen, the style of play has gone backwards. We've missed the creativity from Odegaard through that injury. We earmarked this
did
summer. Hold on a second. You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance tonight. We've earmarked this summer as the summer of recouping some money from the expenditure over previous seasons. So, the likes of Emile Smith Rowe, the creative player, has been moved on, going to Fulham. Injuries have been a part to play, and with no central creative um, instigation, um, we've been slinging crosses into into the box, hoping we're going to get something. Steven said, "Dream on. We weren't brighter. We sat back knowing we were as slow as molasses going up the pitch and toothless up front. We posed no threat. We dominated no one despite Arteta's BS." I got to sneeze.
that's a weird sound.
Listen, whilst it wasn't much better, Stephen, you have to admit the second half we were better than the first. We started to put some pressure on Inter Milan, and let's have it right. Inter Milan are a really, really good team. They won the Serie A, they won the Scudetto by something like 19 points last
Don't
season.
make excuses, Ray.
No, I'm not making excuses. They're just playing a really, really good team in the best Italian team in Serie A on their home patch. Still, we
Not,
had enough to go and get a draw, if not more, in that game. Um,
not, now can
19
I?
points behind. They won it by 19 points. They only lost two games, winning 94 points in their league last season. And they have an important game coming up on Sunday where they will play Napoli. And they're only a point behind Napoli. So yeah, listen, I thought we were a little bit brighter. We controlled their forwards from breaking out against us. And look, we had a chance or two, which on another day would have been scored. The shot from Havertz blocked by the kid's legs. Um, and so listen, it's not good. Arsenal are not playing well, and they're going to have to. Um, they're on the ropes right now, and they're going to have to fight their way off the ropes as well. Even with Odegaard back in the team, we ain't challenging this season. We looked like a donkey in a Grand National. 1,000 yards there. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, if this is as bad as it gets, let's hope that the team turns it around on Sunday. because we got
Do,
no more opportunities to have bad games in this season.
do you know what Arsenal is right now, Ray?
A mule.
Nope. There's a turtle on their back, and you just stuck there waddling back and forth.
The arms are moving, but not much else happening. We're still in the top eight. No, we're not. We're not in the top eight anymore. We are 12th place, I think, in the Champions League, Super League right now. Are we still in the top eight? No, we're not. We're 12th. Or will we have to play the two extra games? Listen, Tony, I was looking at the games we have left. Right, we've got four more games. I think we only collect 7 more points, and 14 is not going to be enough for the top eight.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a
We're going to be we're
huge.
going to be we're going to be playing those two extra games in the new year.
That's gonna be such a huge letdown from where we were.
We have to play Sporting Lisbon, who just beat Man City 4-1 with Gyökeres,
and
a
have
player
and
I'd
they're the
like.
only
Um,
team with a perfect record in the Champions League as
right,
well.
and so Sporting Lisbon. Some people saying they're not a good team, but I believe they beat Man City 4-1. We'll have to go to that same ground and try to win there. But the home game against Monaco, we can win that game. The home game against Monaco.
Uh,
And
uh,
then there's
uh,
what is it, Dynamo Zagreb? We can beat them, and we probably draw away at Girona. So
yeah,
we'll win our
yeah,
two home games, lose one, and draw one, I believe, and we'll end up with 14 points, and that will be probably good for 10th or 11th place.
uh, if Zagreb still exists by then, right?
Tony. I see clubs have stated they will be suing 115 for if they lose the case. It could cost them hundreds of millions of pounds. Yeah, it's kind of it's a sleeper story right now. I'm happy to take Gyökeres on the plane back to London. We call him, and we can call him Zinchenko, and leave Zinchenko with Sporting and call him Gyökeres. Yeah,
Eh,
this is what
eh,
we're gonna do, Red John. We're gonna tell Zinchenko to swap his shirts with Gyökeres, and each of them will wear their shirts. Um, the one time we'll play Zinchenko in midfield will be that game.
It,
So you can get to Jokers and switch shirts, and at that point in time, we'll take him home. You know what I mean?
it's it's crazy that PSG's in
Rosamund,
25th.
yes. And we're
PS
getting we're getting a
PSG's
few
in
new faces in here. So listen, this is kind of a crazy segment with Tony in the Upside Down World, but we're a humble podcast. If you want to consider subscribing, do that. If you want to, definitely, I hope you can like the stream. It definitely helps as well. But yeah, Osman for me. Hello all, and we could get Osman in January as well from Galatasaray.
it's crazy, Ray. PSG 25th, PSV 24th. We're little Dutch guys are ahead of the really expensive French guys.
PSV and PSG, is that what you said?
Yeah,
All right.
PSG's 25th and PSV is 24th.
Welcome, Dan. BX Gunner has just officially welcomed you, Dan. Right now, we would have problems beating Millwall playing this slow progression football. Yeah, listen, there's something seriously wrong with our football right now, and it's not good right now. But I got you keep believing. I keep believing that the team will turn it around as well, and I think we've got to see it on Sunday
Uh,
against Chelsea.
Arteta doesn't have his secret weapon this November that he did a few Novembers ago when Smith Rowe saved his job. Is there anybody that saved his job? Uh, uh,
I mean, that's the
And
collective. You got to put it down to the collective, Tony. You know.
How much do you think he's lost the locker room?
No, I don't. I heard you talking about this a few days ago on Gary's channel, and I don't think that the locker room has been lost. I don't. You hear about this at other clubs.
But what
Um,
about players like Jesus? Jesus looks like he can give two shits if he's out there and that. You don't know to put it in the right hand or the left hand.
Thanks for subbing 1,000 yards there. Um, thanks for being here as well, hanging out with us. It's not easy. Talking about a loss and two losses in a row now, where Newcastle was an absolutely horrible performance. We conceded a goal early on and didn't look like we could ever get a goal back. I thought we played well in the second half against Inter. I'm going to say it again. I thought we maintained some pressure on them. Inter Milan definitely did not want to defend that deep. We pushed them back, but again, we didn't create enough, and that's something against this Arsenal side, not creating enough going forward. Tony, what were you about to say?
Can't remember what I was gonna say, but I was gonna go with another thing because I asked this, but the first time I asked it was I think the week before we went on the October break, and I said things are kind of shaping up eerily similar to 5 years ago, and it's progressively gotten close to that point. We'll wonder if the next time we're out the Emirates, if we'll see Lieutenant Outbanners. I mean,
No,
you can't give him too much more rope because
no. Listen, this was an extremely coming off of Bournemouth away from home and Liverpool at home. You would have hoped those that coming back to the Emirates, we would have gotten 3 points there, and that would be a springboard to do something up in Newcastle, to do something at Inter Milan, and definitely to finish off before the international break at Chelsea, Stamford Bridge. But it didn't happen. This team is not playing well right now. They're in a funk and they need to turn it around. Like I said earlier, they need to get off the ropes. They're getting hit. They're taking body blows, and they've got to get off the ropes and start fighting back. And it's got to start at Chelsea again. The last 3 seasons at Chelsea, we've had decent results. Tony, uh, last season was a 2-2 draw when really we should have been defeated at Stamford Bridge. We came back after being 2-0 down with 20 minutes to go. Declan Rice with that wonder strike and Leandro Trossard coming back to equalize. And then before that, we had what we hoped to do on Sunday, a controlled performance where we really dominated the game and won the game 1-0. I'd like to win more than 1-0. And then the season you reference a lot, Tony, where we were in fifth place and we had the opportunity to get top four and 70, give out all these percentages, 75 and 82% or whatever it was when we played Tottenham and Newcastle. We beat them 4-2 at their place as well. So, Red John said, "What pisses me off about Arteta is he keeps blaming the ref like you can't do it for 5 or 6 games straight. He's got to start owning. There's got to be some home truths being said. Um, I think eventually we will get the rub of the green as well. We didn't get that yesterday against Inter Milan. Um, when you think about it, you and I disagree about it, but the goalkeeper two-handed uh, punch right into the head of the player, Marino.
yeah, just right into the head is not an apt description, right? He just like brushed him. It's kind of like he had a comb out. And he parted his hair down the middle, and that's what type
He
of
just brushed. He just brushed his hair. You tell me in the comment section, people, what you thought about that. Was it assault or was it just like on a
fuck it, fuck
hair
it. I leave you.
adjustment?
I leave you one Sunday alone with Stan, right? And Stan just builds
And
this
the
conspiracy.
or was he just trying to fix his hair? Because we know Marino is heading toward that Lego hair as well. You know what I mean? He's a countryman of Mikel, so he got that Lego hair as well. I understand there's a big bias against it, but that doesn't give you the right to play shit football. Um,
I'm really trying hard, Ray, to figure out why we spent money on Mourinho because I haven't seen anything he's offered in
well,
the last
I
few
think
months.
the situation, unfortunately, this is similar to Kai Havertz last season, where it takes minutes and it takes time to understand the player. It took time to understand the player,
Yeah,
and
but Kai Havertz has always said he's a striker. Arteta persisted for him until Jesus
you know
got hurt.
one thing I don't like Tony is that he continues to bring Kai Havertz back from the number 9 position into midfield. We have players in our squad that can play in midfield as well. We've got Jorginho. We've got Zinchenko if needed. We've got Waneri. We've got a lot of players that can play in midfield. Don't bring Kai Havertz back there. It's not working. He's
Even
playing
Keith,
10 high ball now. Yeah, what
even
I
even even Kivior is a defensive midfielder.
What's cooking, people? Mr. Bungle. I'm just going to catch up on the chats here. The chats are moving. Uh, when you subscribe to Arsenal Fan Circle, you have a real chance of featuring your comment. No super chats here. Is Tony in Australia? Tony's in China. He's moved from his Russian apartment to China. Odegaard back. Yes, Michael. Odegaard coming back will change everything. I think we saw a little bit of that with 5 or 6 minutes to go toward the end of the game. Um, some people saying we have to start Odegaard on Sunday. He just watched the Morbius movie last week, so he's feeling very bat-like at the moment. There you go. Are you hanging from the ceiling,
I've
Sterling?
just I've just reversed gravity, Ray.
Sterling's been a Sterling signing. You know, Sterling released from Chelsea. You kind of would. I kind of was looking forward to Sterling exacting some revenge on Chelsea, but damn it, Tony, I can't even pick Sterling on Sunday. He's been that bad.
When when you were ever a kid and like people would say you need to dig a hole, that I don't know where you say you're digging a hole to when you live in England. It's kind of hard to dig a hole to China like we say, but I just envision people like being upside down.
Mr. Bungle, you do not adjust your eyes or your television screen, Mr. Bungle. This is Tony in the upside down state. Um,
I'm just wondering how many weeks we're at to put up with
you
this.
know, it's not, he didn't try to do this deliberately, although if I said he did try to do this deliberately, you would believe me as well. Uh, that's how cracked Tony is. Tony, you on drugs again? He cleaned his out. Arteta's a deer in the headlights at the moment. You know, in Dumb and Dumber, where you're starting to fall asleep, and the truck has got those lights flashing. You have to wake up and see the lights, Arteta. You have to wake up and see the lights. Um, yeah, you're like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber right now.
So
Arteta's a
so
deer.
how much more rope do you give him, Ray?
I give him to the end of the season, honestly. Or, like I said, if we drop far enough away from the top four, like 6 points away from top four, then maybe you got to do something. Then Arteta just
What
won't let Arteta just won't let go of his false nine. Even Guardiola realized the whole false nine thing is not sustainable. Went and got Haaland. Um, Mr. Bungle, I've had a few rums. Why that pissed or is he's upside down. You're not. You need to drink. You need to drink a few more rums. You're not quite there yet. Arsenal are in a free fall at the moment. got to get control as soon as possible.
I
Tony
like
is
that our audience consumes enough beverages or
Tony. We'll see
illegal
you on the flip,
substances.
Tony. We'll see you on the flip. What are you, heads or tails?
We all like head, right?
Tony's on the flip side. Odegaard coming in on injury time just shows how bad Arteta's game management still is. It has improved in 3 years. Has Arteta hit his ceiling? Phew. Did you guys see the Ballon d'Or list? Granit Xhaka, who wasn't deemed good enough for Arsenal, ranked 16, whereas best Arsenal player was 19th, Odegaard. So Granit Xhaka has shown his worth. You know, he's the type of player who makes a full team, play better.
No, he's not,
Yeah.
Ray. Come on.
Do you
Uh
remember
oh.
this, Tony? Do you remember this banner?
I remember. I remember for 7 seasons he didn't do anything. I remember for 3 seasons in a row he
I
lost
know.
enough
It
points
took him a
as
while.
himself.
It took him a while to figure it out at
It,
Arsenal.
it took Arsenal super overloading the left with Zinchenko and Zaka. You have nobody back there in defense. I mean,
Cody,
it
uh,
was the point where Alonso was swore that Gabriel was shit, but then he finally figured out that Zinchenko is the one that is
yeah,
shit.
yeah, I remember him going after Gabriel big time. BX said Chelsea just scored 8 goals in the Conference League. They'll be ready to have a go. The thing about that is, um, those
I'm curious.
players, those players who played tonight for Chelsea, they didn't play for the first team on Sunday, and they won't play this Sunday either. It was a completely different team.
Well,
The
that's
history,
easy to field a different team when you got 55 players, right?
the History Channel has just come back on, but your TV screen shows our historian Tony
Um,
Drago upside down.
are we entering the
Crocodile Tony,
outer? Are we entering the outer limits, or are we on the
the Twilight Zone,
which one, Ray?
the Twilight Zone. Yeah. Do you guys watch any other sport? Listen, me being from Ireland, I like rugby, Gaelic football, snooker. We talked about snooker last week. Formula One. Living here in the States, of course, American football, hockey, maybe a bit of what was that? Hockey, yeah, hockey and American football.
I,
That's about it. Yeah.
I think you've hit your yearly limit on how many times you can say snooker, Ray. You're all
It's
snookered out. Look at you're snookered out, yawning.
been a long week, so forgive me for yawning here. Stop with this Shaka crap. He's playing in an inferior league now. That list is just BS. Yeah,
I can't believe he was actually up as one of the best players in the world. He was actually up for the Ballon d'Or.
Stephen, I think you're right, Stephen. The list is kind of BS. Um, and not the
What
best
what
player. It's not always the best players in the right position. You know what I mean?
what do you think of the other BS they've added to it? Because you've added like best team. You've added so many categories that
Huh.
I've never, I really never rated the Ballon d'Or,
I didn't even know
now,
that, Tony.
but but you got like best club, best female player, best female club. You got you got
Yeah,
many
it's
things.
too much. I don't pay attention to it honestly. You know, uh, Red John said whenever we get a free kick at Chelsea's goal, we can get Cole Palmer to take it for us since he's the best free kick taker right now, and they can get Raya to defend their goal for them. Sanchez does suck. Do we? I do not really watch the MLS. No, at all, not at all. Um, except for I was keeping tabs on the Philadelphia Union a couple of seasons ago when they got to the final. They like snooker and ice hockey and tennis. Yeah, I saw that Tiger and Gunnar Irish jockey won the Melbourne Cup this week, and it was a huge, huge price. I think it was 125 to 1. He timed it perfectly to win on the line as well. So also something
You,
about
you,
Ain't
you,
Mine not being able to have a horse run at the Melbourne Cup as well. Controversy.
you're talking about peonies again, right?
I'm talking about peonies. Peonies. All right, Tony. We've kept this banner up for about a year or 2 years, probably now. To be or not to be, progressive or pragmatic, and it's centered around Zinchenko and the whole left back Zinchenko. And since then, we've had Granit Xhaka covering for Zinchenko, and we've had Declan Rice in there, and we've had you know Timber, and we've had you know all of these right left backs.
And, and
Calafiori, a player that I rate, but would I
he
have
looks
wanted a
exactly
striker? Would I have
he
wanted a striker? Yes,
he
I would have wanted a
he looks
striker.
like Oda. He looks like fucking Zinchenko, right?
So tell me, how did Mikel Arteta go from being progressive to pragmatic, and he's gone ultra pragmatic now?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just his stubbornness, and now he feels like he's got his players, and he just keeps on persisting with stuff that doesn't work. Something he's done with his entire career, and every year they've always been this happy accident. Last year was Jesus. I mean, all this stuff you've had that. You had Smith Rowe as a happy accident. Aubameyang getting shit canned, but I don't know. I just think he's so set in his ways and wants to play this certain style. And
Yeah, he needs to
yeah,
abandon it a little bit, and as Arsene Wenger would say, take the handbrake off. And Arsene Wenger would also say, confidence goes out of the building very quickly, but
I I
you
think I could
regain
take.
that confidence slowly. And we're in a sticky patch where we need to reclaim some very important points this season to get the wheels
Right.
moving again.
I have two bum shoulders. I think if you roll me out on that wet, thick patch of grass out there, that I could probably pass 90% of Arsenal players because the build-up's just so slow.
Um, Right, John says, I can't tell if Zinchenko is better than Kolasinac. What do you think, Ray and Tony? I think Zinchenko is better than Kolasinac. That's how
I
bad Kolasinac was for me.
but but to me, it's like Zinchenko's there. We could get a lot out of him, but Arteta refuses to play him in the midfield.
Hmm He's so Arteta's one dimensional. I think we're talking about Arteta here, not daring enough to trust another option. And I think he's got to reinvent. He's got to switch things up a little bit for Sunday.
And one thing, go ahead, Ray.
Philip Bidwell said, "I'm welcome, sir." Philip Bidwell here. To be honest, I think you're worse this year than the last 2 3 years. I think that's a little bit masked by the fact that we've had injuries to key personnel. We've had suspensions to key players, and I
That,
think
that,
wait till
that's
the
what
end of the
happens,
season. Let's decide at the end of the season because there's still, like I said, 40 more games to go with this season.
do you know what happens in football, Ray?
What?
You you have injuries. You have this stuff. You're not to have a perfect season. The last two seasons been pretty
Yeah.
perfect. Not any major injuries besides our revolving door of
I
fullbacks.
I agree with
And
you. I agree with you, but maybe we're having our tough. Listen, I'm gonna throw something out there that maybe we are doing things the way City are doing things. Very very slow start to the season, and we'll grow into it like we did last season. We grew into it and we grew stronger and stronger.
and
Uh,
I'm a progressive pragmatic thing.
yeah,
You kind of like let it go. but you didn't mention Partey as right back because that just breaks it down even more.
Yeah, yeah. One thing here, Tony. Tony, is it easier to move your wheelchair when you're upside down?
I have gravity on it. Just a little button I move forward.
You have you inverted gravity. See, you're just like Mikel Arteta. You like to invert things. You've inverted gravity. Can you line up on Sunday for Arsenal and
Be on top.
invert yourself, go over the top of their defense, and when the ball's crossed to you, head it in into the
Do,
net.
do, do you want to really know why I'm upside down? Right?
Red John says you're in a space shuttle. There's even a turbine in the background. Yeah,
Do you want to really know why I'm upside down? Right?
yes, I do.
It's all this bullshit talk of you guys talking about inverted fullbacks. It doesn't matter if you go to the inside or outside. If you're attacking as a fullback, you're a wingback, right?
The other thing it could be you're in the Titanic right now, upside down at the bottom of the
Uh,
ocean.
I mean, you have Saka in the midfield now. He's really not a winger, but people would still call him a Martinelli wingers when there's a 4-4-2, so they're not actually wingers there.
Steven said, we got out of this funk last season by opening things up. It started when Raya threw that ball to Martinelli, who scored on the break. Arteta was pissed, as he'll judging by the look of his face. Yeah, but we got it going, and the team will be needing to get it going against Chelsea as well. The earth simply rotated 180 degrees tonight, when Tony's here as well. Yeah, so listen, progressive or pragmatic. Mikel Arteta has gone from being a progressive manager, playing progressive football with dynamic football. Uh, Football that, gave us 3-3 draws, let's not forget, against Southampton. But I think we'd probably take that back now, you know what I mean? Because we've gone so far to the other side of being pragmatic. Last season, we were quite pragmatic with some set piece football to complement our attacking play.
Could,
And it
could,
just seems, Tony, it just seems this season we're not going to score a goal unless we get 11, 12, or 14 corners.
can I suggest a spelling correction for you, Ray?
Yes, you can suggest it.
Um, subtract the P, subtract the O, add in the E, then you got regressive.
Oh,
And
RE. Yeah.
uh,
Take the P away, take the O away, put an E in there, you got regressive. Regressive or pragmatic. The players took it upon themselves in that game to do something. Definitely. Um, where's Alonso? He said he was available. Now, Tom, that is just um, a general proclamation of his willingness to go on numerous podcasts and give of his services and his intelligence and steady opinion upon the Arsenal and many other things.
what
That's what Alonso's doing. He's announcing to the world that he is available for podcasts.
what round of a draft are you taking in NFL? You got 7 rounds. What round are you picking Alonzo?
Fifth,
Fifth round pick.
fifth round pick. Alonso's having himself some spaghetti. It's Thursday night for him. Gotta have spaghetti on a Thursday night on your Thursday night for him.
Why could Alonzo consume any form of food? and it sounds like he's slurping down soup. Oh, I'm eating a salad. I'm eating a Subway. It just it all goes down the same for some reason.
He's got a strong muscles there for eating. Um, taking any food down. Are you a slow eater, Tony, or a fast eater?
Um, Ray, uh, like 40
This is not
miles
a
away.
complicated question, Tony.
Yeah, I'm answering for you. Ray, 40 miles away is Oklahoma State University, and you've probably seen the Eskimo Joe's T-shirts, but they also has a Mexico Joe's, and every year for their anniversary, they would have a taco eating contest, and I'm sitting there like two times watching these adults eat and thinking I could eat three times as many as those tacos given the same amount of times. My dad, it's like I think it was at one point like Taco Bell. They would have tacos like four for $1, but if you got like a dozen dozen of them, you would get a fifth taco. So we would order 2 dozen tacos and you know get rid of them quickly.
Yeah, Stephen, there is nothing better than Mama's pasta. Definitely. Stephen also said the players do not look happy at all right now, playing like this. Yeah, look, football should be about enjoying and expressing yourself, but modern football by all coaches, modern football by all managers is within the millimeter. It's within the millimeters. It's coached into the players within a hair's breadth. So if they don't believe in what they're doing and it's not bringing them wins, then they will not look happy at all about it. But I don't believe for 1 minute that the dressing room has been lost, as Tony has suggested. I don't believe for 1 minute that Mikel Arteta won't come back from this, um, and start winning games again. Um, these next two games, like we mentioned on Sunday, Chelsea away from home and Nottingham Forest at home are really, really huge tests, and ones where we need to. These teams are above us in the league right now. We beat Chelsea, and we go back above Chelsea. We're below them on goal difference right now. Can you believe that? We're below them on goal difference right now. We beat them. We go back up ahead of them, and then we face Nottingham Forest, who are in third place right now, and they will probably feel they've got an imposter syndrome right there, that they should maybe not be in that position at all. Um, so Tony, Inter Milan defended really well. What were your thoughts on the game overall?
But from Arsenal's point, it was like just a boring stroll down the park, mundane. It just you didn't see the fight, and Arteta, I still think he got the lineup wrong. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Arteta's got himself in this situation, and he's got to figure it out real quick, or he's gonna
Yeah, the
be.
pressure. You lose at Stamford Bridge. That's three losses in the league. You can definitely forget about the league at that point, because look, Liverpool, it's a really good set of games, Tony, and we can go through the games as well. But the key ones are, Liverpool are at home to Aston Villa. We don't know what's going to happen there, but Liverpool playing in Anfield again, they seem to be getting a lot of their big games at Anfield first. So they have Aston Villa at Anfield again at 3 o'clock, and Man City, they got to go to Brighton, and Man City are not in good form. Brighton are playing well. It could be a situation where Liverpool and Man City drop points, but they will have the advantage of playing on Saturday before us. Unfortunately, Arsenal playing another huge game against a big team means we'll be playing the 11:30 game, which Mr. Tom traditionally says there's more goals involved in those 11:30 games, which he's right. You know, the last one was Liverpool. We played them 2-2 draw um, a week
Do you
ago.
think do you think that's based on just your more in your daily routine and
It could be that it's going to be an afternoon, late afternoon game. It also could be that you know the position in the league. You're the last set of two teams out in that weekend, so you know what you need to do, and you kind of play a little bit more freely because you know that there's no other teams going to come after you and surmount the points that you're getting. So it could be a little bit like that. And it seems to be like it's a TV game. The atmosphere in the stadium probably feeds into it as well. As a neutral, you know what I notice is wrong with Arsenal. There's no X factor. Liverpool came to the Emirates and got outplayed, but they have that X factor where they can score out of nothing. Yeah, but Arsenal scored out of nothing as well. What do you think Bukayo Saka did? He scored out of nothing. That Liverpool game was very even. They scored one set piece goal. We scored one set piece goal. They had an individual piece of brilliance, and we had an individual piece of brilliance. Um, Arsenal has no player where even if the tactics turn out wrong, they can rectify the problem with
uh,
individual ability. Maybe Bukayo
uh,
Saka. We're waiting for Martinelli to do that. We keep waiting for Martinelli to do that. Beat three
uh,
players and score a goal. Tony?
I'm real curious, Ray, if we have scored more goals from set pieces than we have open play. I'm
I'm
really
sure we
curious.
have. I'm sure we have scored more goals this season from set pieces than open play. Uh,
Uh, I think last year we
oh, it's
had
been a long week. Tired, tired, tired. Arsenal is one
well,
of those teams where it's completely reliant on the manager's tactics, whereas clubs like Liverpool, Madrid, and City don't rely on purely the manager to win. I think there's some validation, valid point right there. Um, Ancelotti just seems to roll out those teams. You pick a team, and they go out and play. Now, having said that, Real Madrid have struggled at times this season. With Arsenal, if they don't play well, they can't win. But all the other major clubs can do it, since they have those big names who can win the game on pure ability. What do you say about that, Tony? I'll be right back, Tony. Go ahead, keep talking.
I was going to talk about how Mbappe has now been put on the bench. So you spend all of his money for him, and now he's on the bench because his play has been horrible.
Who's on the bench?
Um, uh, I would assume it would be PS or PSG, Real Madrid's record
Real
signing
Madrid.
there.
Okay.
Mbappe's been benched.
And Tony, that's Mbappe is not playing well at Real Madrid. Does that not tell you that it takes time for new signings, no matter who they are, to bed in and to play well within a team setup?
It, I think it depends a little bit on how the team's set up and things. I think a lot of players they can hit the ground running. We had Odegaard when we signed him on loan. He hit the ground running. Struggled a little bit. His the next season, his first full season at Arsenal, had a slow start. I think it can happen any way. You can get a hot start or you can have a slow start.
Tony, stop talking. Oh no, you're on mute again, Tony. Okay, I'm back. Are you? You're on mute, Tony. Oh my God. Your mic, Tony, your mic is not connected. The upside down world is not working so well. So, I don't usually eat during podcasts, but I'm tired and I need a little bit of sugar. Tony, you're not connected. Your mic is not connected. Now is the opportunity to ask Tony questions that you don't want the answer to.
Yeah, yes, right. You have questions for me?
Yeah, we have a question. JS has just joined us. I'm trying to get a little bit of energy back. I'm feeling tired this week. But thanks for being here, JS. We're getting a lot of new names in here, and the interaction is great. Are you guys worried about this Amarim guy? He just beat Pep 4-1 with a team that's probably worse than United. I think I am worried about him as well. Yeah, listen. I think it's very unprofessional to eat while you're on a podcast. But I mean, within reason, right? You can eat things, but I try not to eat during the podcast. Not that it's not unprofessional, but the hosts have to be able to speak at all times.
Ray gives me a free pass because a lot of times I don't have time to fit in supper before the show.
So the answer to the question, JS, is I am kind of worried about this Amram guy. Liverpool were interested in him before they got Arnie Slot. So that tells me that Amram is probably a decent manager.
Did you say it slut this time, or did you say slot?
Slot.
I might have to go give a slot machine again, Ray. Now let's see if Tony can consume a Pepsi. Coke Zero upside down.
Tony, grab us a beer. You're holding out, Tony. You're holding out.
I think I only have one beer in there.
Yeah. Listen, a little worried about Chelsea as well. I think they turned it around with Maresca standing his ground with the ownership, right? So I think he's done a pretty good job at Chelsea. They have some good players that can hurt us.
This has to be the worst time we could play in the form we're in, the form that they're in.
They got to draw with Man United. Let's have it right. They're not that great. They drew 1-1 with Man United last weekend.
Maybe they were saving themselves for the Champions League, right?
It could be. Man City and Arsenal are out of form. City has lost 3 in a row. So definitely that is the something that's afflicted Arsenal and City. These defeats have come at about the same time for Pep as they haven't come from Mikel Arteta. Liverpool have been unaffected by any kind of loss of form. So we wait and see what Liverpool do as now they play Aston Villa at home at Anfield, and generally Anfield's kind of an intimidating place. So their home form is going to stand good. I think it's three in a row with us also. Um, Not yet. I hope it won't be on Sunday, Red John, either. Uh, what's your favorite drink? I like uh, I like a Guinness, of course. You know, keeping in line with being Irish. Um, I also like a good cider as well.
Why did you leave out Bemis, Ray?
Um, Beamish is just like Guinness, so I don't think there's any. There is a difference, of course, but I'm not gonna make a
Well,
distinction between Beamish. I do like Beamish as well. You know,
one's a porter and one's a stout. Eh?
but it tastes pretty similar though. Bournemouth, Newcastle, Inter, the three losses. Yeah, yeah, three
Both
losses
of them,
separated by Preston. We beat Preston North End
but
in the
both,
Carabao
both,
Cup.
both of them taste like you ate a loaf of bread. But they're
Well,
one of the lowest carb beers they are.
yeah. Um, there we go. Tiger and Gunner
It,
digging the
it,
Guinness.
it just feels like, to me, it feels like you just sit there and you keep putting this bread in your mouth with each drink.
Preston North End. Preston North End. We did beat them in between. uh, if you if you wouldn't laugh, you'd be crying the way we're playing right now. That's why I really believe we're going to come out of it at the end of the day. We have to win the Carabao Cup. I agree with you, Red John. There's been enough years now that Mikel Arteta has prioritized other things over a cup competition, and we have to start prioritizing. We even have a
Uh,
good draw with Crystal Palace coming
um,
to our place in December. We have a good draw, and then we should get to a semi-final where we're going to play one of the other teams around us. We're probably one of the biggest teams in the competition remaining, along with
would,
Liverpool. I think we're better than Liverpool actually. There, I
would,
said it.
would we beat Crystal Palace if we were at your favorite home ground in English football?
Selhurst. I still believe we'd beat them at Selhurst Park. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Ray, I can't resist the opportunity to put Salhurst Park out
Selhurst
there.
Park. Yeah. Red John said, if we don't win that Carabao Cup, we're going to have a tough conversation at the end of the season. Everything you need, everything in life requires a tiny, tiny slice of luck. And we need a tiny slice of luck in the Carabao Cup. I remember like Arsenal winning the Littlewoods Cup was my first competition. Arsenal won. And, I think it was a 2-2 draw at Tottenham as well. I was a teenager at the time. We need to stop acting like we owe the Premier League and the smaller trophies to be honest. I don't like that mentality.
What?
When Pep, it doesn't happen very often, but when Pep can't win a Premier League, he wins a Carabao Cup or he wins an FA Cup. You go and
What?
get another competition. Hold on a second. When Jurgen Klopp was out of contention against City, and that happened a few times, he went and concentrated on an FA Cup or a
Hey,
Carabao Cup.
it cost him a Premier League, right? Because said he dropped 10 points.
Hmm.
Liverpool should have drew ahead of him, but just slightly
Uh,
missed out.
my drink is tequila or vodka used to like rum, but got into a fight with a bottle one night and lost. I threw up on my friend's mom's flowers bed. Uh,
Rum's still pretty much my favorite spiced rum anyway.
a lot of Arsenal fans look down on the Carabao and FA Cup. This is the big thing, Red John. We left the shores of FA Cup and Carabao Cup 4 or 5 years ago in an effort to get to the promised land of a Premier League and Champions League.
But shouldn't we be seeking the promised land with the Premier League and the Champions League?
Yeah, you can do both, but this is what happened. You set your sights as you're building a squad, and
Could
look,
come, come
Lord
on,
knows,
Ray.
Lord knows
Yeah,
we haven't completed building that squad. Lord knows that, but um,
on the other
on
side
the
of
way to building a squad, you're trying to go for that Premier League as well. So
on the other on the other side of a pond, Ray. They
hey,
they
you
they,
should
they
wait
don't.
for me. You should wait for me to finish talking. You will get an opportunity when I'm finished talking for you to speak. You
I feel
bastard.
like you're being like Gary, and you're not taking any pauses to let me talk.
A lot of Arsenal fans look down the Carabao Cup. So, but also, Red John, a lot of them don't, because at the end of the day, second and third places are nice in the Premier League, but winning a trophy. That's why we really started following our team, because they started winning trophies. You know, the prestige of winning a trophy. It's what Pep used to do to build a
So,
winning mentality when first came
so
to the Premier League.
but the Arsenal's 5 years into it. We wanted Wenger out because we wanted to win Premier Leagues and Champions League, not a cup that people inside England don't care about anymore. Both domestic cups, people can really give two shits about now. Us
Right.
us winning us winning it, it's not gonna mean anything, right? If we finish
Tony, you try to tell that to all the Arsenal fans worldwide. That's not going to
okay,
mean anything. Winning a cup
but
competition.
what did the last cup mean? Did we build on that cup? No, we didn't. We haven't
We,
built on the last
Tony,
four we won.
Tony. We won the FA Cup with a ragtag team put together with a good system.
Yeah,
We played a good
a
formation
back three, right?
and a back three, whatever you want
Yeah,
to say, a back three. I'll go for
it
all.
was a back. It was a
But
back three
at the end of the
because
day, Tony, we won that FA Cup with the players that we had, and in order to win a Premier League, we weren't going to win a Premier League, or we are not going to
okay,
win a Premier League with the likes of
can I defend?
Kolasinac in the team.
Can I defend myself now, Ray?
You always do.
Well, I'm going to this time.
I think
You you
Sterling
you
is
you
not
you
allowed to
got
play against Chelsea on Sunday.
you guys
We
give
all
me
know.
shit for saying that Niles was key in that, and he was key because he was our wing back in the back three.
Mhm.
I don't care how many goals Aubameyang got in the last game. We kept advancing because of Niles, and Niles was right up there for the best player his first 7 games. Then he misses a team meeting or whatever. Had a valid excuse, but
Yeah.
Arteta froze him out of the Premier League, played him in the FA Cup, and we go on and win that cup. And to me, it's still meaningless because we didn't build upon it. Haven't built
No,
upon the last
look,
four.
a trophy's a trophy, right? And I'm not going to
Eh,
count. I don't really count Community Shields, but we won a couple of those too. You know what I mean? That last
right,
FA Cup, the only player left is Saka. Saka was on an unused substitute in the FA Cup final.
right.
Yeah.
Is the season to be a failure if we finish third or fourth? If we don't advance in the next round of the Champions League, and we get your stupid League Cup,
Give me that again. Where do we finish in the league?
the third or fourth,
Okay,
we
so
we we, we
you've given me qualification to the Champions League next year, and you've given me a cup.
but you went out in the first knockout round of the Champions League.
Yeah, that's still a successful season.
That's not a. You guys are. finding any way you can to brown nose Uncle Artie.
That FA Cup Arteta won is the only reason Arteta's still in job after 5 years. Disagree a little bit. I think um, whether we like it as fans or not, Mikel Arteta sold the Cronkies on the greatest story ever told by a human being is that all of the phases that the club will go through. So what he did there was allowed himself to buy time. Imagine you get in a job, Tony, and in the interview you're going to say, I won't be the best version of myself for this job until about 5 or 6 years from now, because I'm going to have to go through 7 or 8 phases.
Yeah, but you're in a spot where you can get top four the whole entire season. You never say what your target is, and after the season finishes, you find out that the goal was top six. At top four in your grasp, you had a player that you didn't sign on to. He sold for 32 million.
Yeah,
Arsenal was willing to spend 90 million on Bruno this summer.
Red John and I, we think alike. Trophy's always a successful season. No matter you have a cabinet, you have a trophy cabinet for a reason. And tell Spurs the same thing as I'm telling you now. You have a trophy cabinet for a reason to put trophies into it. You know what I mean? Uh, People need to realize that cups are a part of history. Coming second wins nothing. So putting all your eggs in the Premier League is dumb when the two best managers, Klopp and Pep, never did such a thing. What I will say is I think Klopp in particular, he could mount a challenge to Pep in the Premier League, but he could also put a team out that would
He,
go through to the next round of a cup
yeah,
competition.
but but Ray, he was at a place where if he didn't prioritize the League Cup, they could have won the league because they were 10 points back on
But
City.
Tony, that's the thing that nobody does.
City drop all those
You
points,
can't
and
play a season in hindsight. The season plays out in real time, and the season does not play out in hindsight. There's
yeah,
no way that you can know
but
what you could do, should have done in any
shouldn't shouldn't
situation.
shouldn't you prioritize the league, Ray? I
Yeah,
mean that. I mean that was our excuse for getting rid of
the league is your
Wenger,
bread and butter. The league is your bread and butter.
but that was our excuse of getting rid of Wenger was that we weren't competing for titles, and now we're okay if we finish third or fourth in the league. League Cup, nope. I'm not buying it, right? It's like you're buying that bridge to nowhere because that trophy gets you nowhere.
Tony, you think, and this can happen, where a trophy will lead to greater things, but a trophy within a trophy in of itself is success.
No, it's not.
It's quantifiable success. If you take away all the small cup trophies we won, then we're a smaller team than Chelsea. So I wouldn't disrespect the trophies that make our club big in stature. We've won 13 league titles and 14 FA Cups. So I'd like to balance that out and win league, 14 league championships now.
But
Um,
I mean, even Wenger, his thing was, I'm gonna play the kids in the League Cup because it was just a learning experience for them,
yeah,
and only after the trophy went on so long did he finally try to win the League Cup, and he fell short.
All right, so Tony, we're going to go for about another 20 minutes or so more. We'll go through the Premier League games this weekend. Do we have anything else to say about the Champions League and what's been happening with Arsenal?
Um, it's worrying because what our next opponents have done, and
The kid, Ethan Waneri was good, right?
yeah, he was good. But I talk about our opponents are very good in our next game, and in the Champions League are not a very good team, but they're good in the Champions League, and we're really getting to a point that missing out on the top eight is getting more and more likely.
Hmm. Yeah. We're going to have to go some to reclaim. I think we're going to have to win 3 out of 4. We're on 7 points right now. 3 out of 4 would give us 9 points and be on 16. Still might not be enough.
And
Um,
I'm not sure if that's enough or not.
all right. Let's go through the Premier League games and then we'll get out of here.
How many who gives a fuck games of a week do we got, right?
Well, the first one might be there's no early game on Saturday. The first one will be, well, amongst others, will be Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Southampton.
Yep, that's definitely lined up with that category.
Southampton winning last time out. Ramsdale picking up 3 points. Well, Wolverhampton Wanderers have been playing really well. That was a really crazy game they played against Crystal Palace last time out in a 2-2 draw. Next one up is West Ham versus Everton. That's WGAF number 2, in my opinion. But these games could be real good ones, Tony. This one could be a high scoring affair.
Even though that I can go to ESPN soccer and see the weekend lineups, it just I'm so used to your almost ineligible scribbles on what position the teams are in.
Mm-hmm. Yep, my handwriting. Brentford versus Bournemouth, the Battle of the Bees. Brentford lost a tough game against Fulham last time out on Monday, where Harry Wilson, I think, scored 2 goals in injury time. And Bournemouth are a really tough outfit. I would recommend a Brentford win there. Brentford needing to get back in winning ways, so I'll recommend a Brentford win. Crystal Palace at home to Fulham. Now that's going to be a good game, Tony.
It would be even better if it was at Selhurst Park.
Well, it is at Selhurst Park because it's Crystal Palace versus Fulham, and that means it's not like American football where the second team out is the home team. The first team out is the home team on this one, and it's Crystal Palace at home to Fulham. I think Crystal Palace turning the corner a little bit, and Fulham riding the crest of a wave. I would take a Crystal Palace win there. As you know, Tony, you and I both picked Crystal Palace last time out for a huge swathe of points in the upset challenge.
Yep.
Bournemouth will win that one. I think Brentford, Stephen. A nice, interesting wager between the two of us there. I will take Brentford and you'll take Bournemouth. Everton players need to have regular visits to the new stadium to motivate them. It's called Copium. Um, Bournemouth will win that one. Full umbrella over Palace. That is Fulham. The full umbrella. I get it. Full umbrella. Nice one, Stephen. If Arsenal are in title race, then technically Chelsea and Nottingham Forest are two. You could say technically, but then you have to ask yourself, okay, they may have more points than Arsenal, may have scored more points, but are they equipped to go all the way? Where's that echo come from? Tony, bad Tony, bad boy. Tony? Okay, he muted himself. He knows what to do. He's professional now. He's got like 300 podcasts behind him now. When we picked up Tony, he could only say one or two words on the podcast. Now we can't shut him up.
And,
The echo's gone.
and I plan on addressing that at the end of the show.
Okay. Captain Caveman. All right. And then after Fulham, Palace Fulham is the game in Anfield that we talked about before. Aston Villa,
Yeah.
I think Aston Villa dropped points last time out.
Doesn't he have like the greatest like chair that any like superhero could do?
All right. So we all know where Gary's first podcast was. It was right here on this channel. We did a pre-recording and then released it. And
you created a goddamn monster, so you did, right?
and Gary has not looked back since then. He's actually he's burned out so much he can't join us. You know what I mean? He's
Ray. Did you ever watch those like cartoons where you like or movies where you just keep switching the channel and the same person's on every channel? That's Gary. You like every podcast, Gary pops up.
That's what Gary does when he gets up. He jumps on that Peloton. He changes the channel and he sees himself on a podcast.
he still has
He's
not made his
he's like,
delay.
ugh, that Gary guy. I just can't get away from him. Ugh. All right, Tony. So when was your first podcast?
What was it? 2018.
Was it here?
Yeah.
Arsenal
I can't. I can't remember. It's been so long.
You had you came down the birth canal on Arsenal fan circle. Liverpool City will win that. You're playing in Anfield. You should win it. We should win the game. But it's Aston Villa and they're a tricky outfit. But Nigel, you're getting a lot of big games at home first. What's your run in going to look like at the end of the season? You have to play a lot like Arsenal did at the back end of last season. You have to play a lot away from home. All right, Tony. There is a WGAF number 3, I believe. It is Manchester United at home to Leicester City.
Yep, that meets the criteria.
I think they're saying Amram will take charge of the team after this game. He's coming to London. He's coming to not London, but England on the 11th of November. Yeah, not Manchester United versus Leicester City. And then we've got Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle.
Yeah, there's not too much to be really excited about on Saturday.
Nigel said unusual time, 8 p.m. on a Saturday. I mean, you have to think about, okay, I know it's Aston Villa and it's the Midlands and they're probably not, it's not a long way to travel, but you're asking Aston Villa fans to travel back, at 10:30, 10:30 at night or 11 on a Saturday night. Just money, greed plays into all of these timings.
But if they were to do that, why didn't they do that like the first week or two of a season and instead of waiting now when it's completely dark at 5:30
Yeah,
So the entire travels will be in the dark for that game.
yeah. Well, listen, I think night games are much better for atmosphere as well. So, and that's why I think sometimes a lot of teams get moving. They get motoring in November and December, January, February. You have those invariably. It's dark when you're playing, and teams get ahead of speed up about that time. And so let's hope Arsenal can be one of those teams motoring through 7 or 8 teams in the next couple of months. I don't think Vinny is winning that Ballon d'Or anytime soon. He's not even the best Brazilian at the moment, but he wins the Champions League. He wins the Champions League. Um,
I thought he got cheated out of it. And if you watch that hat trick he scored the other week, you see his talent, especially when he crossed over the front line and shot it past the goalkeeper. As he,
yeah,
I mean, how many people can do that nowadays, right?
not
That you
many.
can go, that you can go from one side of a box to the other and kick it behind the goalie. I mean, that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, Red John said, "When I see Rafinha being the most informed forward in the world right now, I just say it and silently cry that he rejected us for Barcelona." He was never. He always wanted to go to Barcelona, and that's the appeal of these heritage. I mean, they're heritage clubs, and they're huge names in the game. Barcelona and Real Madrid. I don't think Vinny's winning that Ballon d'Or anytime soon. He's not even the best Brazilian at the place. Um, Vinny isn't better than Prime Mane. Mane was scoring 20 plus goals in the Premier League and assisting half of Salah's goals. Yeah. All right. So, and then we come to Nottingham Forest, Newcastle. We talked about that. Then Tottenham, Ipswich. Ipswich have not won a game all season, but other than Arsenal,
What a good opportunity for him, right?
yes, other than Arsenal handing out gifts, what team would you like to face? A team called Tottenham. You know what I mean? They hand out gifts around the holiday time and holiday season.
But
Um,
they've been surprisingly bad the last 2 seasons. Because last season they had a good window and they were disappointing.
Surprisingly bad.
Yeah,
Okay. Vinny scores 14 goals a season in La Liga, in an easy league. Ipswich over Tottenham. And look,
but Red John, what he get in the second half of this Champions League game? He got a hat trick and a half. Of all great goals.
Vinny, he's not a bad player on his day. That's for sure. So, Tony, I
Yeah,
think we'll wrap it up pretty soon. Yeah,
I
listen,
mean,
it's one of those.
doesn't that speak volumes though? Is that he's in the team and Mbappe's on the bench?
Well, wouldn't they play in the same team in an ideal world?
Yeah,
You know, Mbappe should play off the left, and Vinny should play off the right, and I think they've got Rodrigo through the center. Maybe I'm not quite sure about Madrid, but they are kind of annoyingly good when it comes to April and May and winning the Champions League. It's something I'd love Arsenal to get to that level of, um,
and
really.
they just like squeak through the qualifying stages, and then they just put on the gas and just pass everybody up.
Mbappe won a World Cup, and I picked France when they won the World Cup. I picked France. I had a cheeky wager at 8-1 on France when they were when they were in Russia winning that World Cup. World Cup is bigger than the UEFA Champions League. That's a conversation. Don't even Red John doesn't want us to compare, but you started this, Red John. UCL doesn't bring the same viewership as World Cup. So in the UEFA Champions League, you have the best players in the best teams. In the
Yeah,
World Cup, you just have the best players from your nation in your team. So which is better, Tony? Which is bigger? Which is like not that it's prestige. Which adds more weight to the argument? A World Cup win or a Champions League win?
for me, I would go the Champions League because I'm getting to the point I can care less about world football because we're already to be on our third break. It's ridiculous to have 7 breaks during a season.
Hmm.
I mean, at this point, you might as well have a winter and a summer World Cup. Just
World Cup is a snooze fest. Do you? So what was your first World Cup that you recollected, Tony?
um, it would be '88 because I remember,
86,
yeah,
Mexico.
yeah, '86 because I remember playing the Nintendo game, and that was like really my first
Yeah,
deep venture into soccer.
yeah. Football, football, football. Nigel said listen, as an Arsenal fan, Nigel, we we need it. We need a Champions League. As an Arsenal fan, we need the Champions League. Messi is an Argentinian god because of the World Cup. Maradona never won a UEFA chance, never won the Champions League. But I remember Mexico 1986 and Stephen just saying World Cup is a snooze fest. And that could be true now, 40 years later. But
Eh,
that Mexican
eh,
World Cup was full of attacking, great attacking football. And I and I think through the 90s, Italia 90, 94 here in the States, 98 in France, was all scintillating football. And I think with more and more nations having their own federations and more teams within Europe, I think that the quality has been diluted a little bit, and so you lose a little bit of uh, let's say an England facing the Netherlands. It doesn't happen too much anymore. The bigger nations do not cross swords anymore. You know,
yeah, and it's even to be worse with this. Tra- uh,
with this new format.
yeah, with this new format, you got the tripod of Mexico, Canada, and U.S. There's big traveling distances, and you got 36 teams. I just you used to not have 36 teams. I'm sorry.
Hmm. Yeah, it's become more and more. You know what I mean?
And
Listen,
I mean,
I want to say
you,
big thanks, Tony, for joining me tonight. Big thanks.
you, you've added this second European deal. Why can't you add like a second World Cup for the like teams
Yeah,
40 through 60 in the
where is Alonso
standings?
now?
I don't know. He,
Nigel, listen, I'm a little bit drained this week, tired, but thanks for being here. Have a great rest of the week, and have a rest as well at the weekend.
huh,
Thanks for being
uh,
here, Nigel. Paul
well,
Pye,
I know why you're tired, right?
Gary's here with me in Cambodia. That might be one of the factors, but not the only factor. Um, yeah, Gary is with. Okay, in Cambodia. Okay, he said he wasn't going to be able to join us for different reasons, but there you go. Um, all right, big game on Sunday now, Tony. We dropped 2 L's. We have to hold them up high. Edu is leaving for Nottingham Forest, leaving for greener pastures. We shall see who comes in as the sporting director to help Mikel. get through this sticky patch.
Uh,
Um,
I,
any
I,
final thoughts, Tony?
I do have final thoughts, but first I'm going to say I kind of want Bird Camp to come in and run things.
Oh, nice. I think Monchi would be the guy.
Yeah,
Bring Monchi.
I mean we've already screwed up, and we can't pick one Arsenal legend because he did bad things.
Yeah, very bad. Edu, I mean, I think you have to give Edu his props for the player that he was. Um, what he did at Arsenal, he got some deals over the line, but it wasn't just principally him. Richard Garlick and Tim Lewis were involved in him as well. And we weren't able to sell very well under Edu. And hopefully, with a new character in place, with a better ran club and better individuals at our club, I'm thinking of players who can get us some money, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. Let's go and do that. The next chapter will be exciting. Hopefully, Mikel Arteta needs to work on things this weekend and get a win at Chelsea. It's not impossible to go and win there, and I can't even think about a dreadful, dreadful week if we lose three. So there you go. I'm going to stop talking. Um, Ray John said, "Ray, you're sounding like Trump when he rambles." There you go. Thank God.
That,
I do.
that, that's that's why you were up late Tuesday, right? That's why you're tired.
No, it's true the work week as well. Um, yeah, listen, it's a few things as well. Could have activated Marino's buyout clause and saved us 2 months instead of haggling over 5 to 10 million. And look, all of those things count, Red John, at the end of the day because we ran out of time. And Sterling, I don't know what Sterling's going to look like for us this season, but he was somebody who
Not good enough, Ray.
he
Not good
was
enough.
somebody who just dropped in our lap and we took him. It wasn't like we were actively looking for somebody. We actually maybe low key felt sorry for Sterling at Chelsea and saved him. And that was Mikel Arteta saving him from um, the reserves, let's say. He wasted two months negotiating with Real Sociedad. Yeah, so listen, hopefully that could be a sign of better things to come with a better sporting director in place. All right, we're out of here. Tony, would you be willing to replace Edu?
Yeah, yes, I would.
And I think Tony might do a better job. Tony, the job is yours. Sterling was a panic boy by definitely panic signing. Stephen, thanks for being here. Red John, I'll do the roll call tonight. Red John, lots of interaction. Some guy who has Gary with him at Cambodia. Don't know who that is. Nigel. There was a few new names in here as well. Um, who else was in here? Let's get up to the top. The Arsenal misfit. Yeah, it's here. Tiger and Gunner was here. JS was here tonight.
Yeah. Yep, we have a few new names again. So
A few new names in there. Exactly. Mr. Bungle was taking his mid-morning slash. Michael was in the house. If you know, you know, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Bungle. We can 1,000 yards there. Who's sub to the channel as well. BX Gunner was here as well. The Gooner was here.
Where'd Jose go? He left us high and dry.
Mr. Cheese was here. Hawkwind was here. And some guy called the Arsenal Truex Galaxy podcast who announced his availability for podcasts. So go and snatch him up. He's on a free right now. You know?
Could he come up with like any longer of a name for his?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's put
Let's
that on the
put
back
that on the back
on the back of
on
your
the back
shirt.
of your shirt.
All right.
All right,
The echo. and I say
say
goodbye.
goodbye.
Take care,
Take care,
everybody.
everybody.
Let's
Let's
win on
win on
Sunday.
Sunday.
The Sunday
The
show is
Sunday
going to
show
be
is going to be
epic
epic.
when we win. Hey, Tony. We're clear. Great show, said Tiger and Gunner. Oh, we forgot to mention, even if we weren't Odegaard. 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 What's the Odegaard? Is that what Tony? Is that what Gary says? Hello. Can't hear you.
Fucking Bluetooth.
There you go. Bluetooth. Technology.
Yeah, okay. Let's get
Technology,
started now.
grand.
Okay.
People are kind.
I guess I should switch to.
I'm not going to be with you all night. I got to go to bed. Is that you singing?
No, hold on.
Who's singing? Michael Bolton?
You give me a second, Ray. It's, the
We're still
Bluetooth kept
broadcasting.
cutting in and out when it wanted to.
Hey, we're still broadcasting. All right, we'll let it go for a few more minutes. Thanks, Stephen. We're saying we're still broadcasting. One thing I wanted to say, Tiger and Gunnar left a comment. Stan is Odegaard, and Odegaard is the best player. What does that make us, Tiger? What does that make me and Tony? Tony, you are the upside down player. You have to be Zinchenko.
Well, like I said, all this inverted talk got me inverted. You guys won't quit with the inverted wingers talk.
I swear I clicked end the stream.
Are we ended now, Ray?
1-0 to the Arsenal Sunday. Yeah, I'm gonna end it now. 1-0 to the Arsenal Sunday. Definitely Tiger and Gunnar. Why not 2-0? Yeah, how are we going to deal with the Premier ref's corruption? I don't know. Just thought you should. It's not like we're going to say anything bad. Maybe Tony was, but thanks for letting us know for sure.
I still just can't believe you let Stan talk you into it. It's a conspiracy.
Listen, if the refs screw you over, you see it.
We did not get
Think
screwed
it,
over.
think it, then you see it, Tony, and then you believe it.
We didn't get screwed over Wednesday night. Even though Arteta made that excuse for us.
Yeah. All right, listen, our loyal viewers, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the whole time.
Your overlords are leaving for real this time.
We appreciate you. I'm going to roll this out one more time. Good night, everybody. And thanks for being here. Thanks, Stephen, for telling me. We're still rolling tape. I'm
Good,
going to
good,
try
good
and
night,
close it out
Tony.
now. Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
Good night from Ray. Take care, everyone. We love you.